Hello there. Welcome, chess fans, to our Tuesday night tournament hosted online with chess.com. So, this Tuesday, July 14th, 2022, we had four players enter the arena, and it is my pleasure to go over the games, and the final two games, and give you a little breakdown. I must warn anyone watching this video, I'm not great at analyzing games and not the best player. You get what you pay for. However, maybe after the games, I'll talk a little bit more about the players and what's coming up this Tuesday. Now, okay, with the first game I'm going to show you is going to be between white with Parker Brown and black with Daniel Matzner. These are two guys. They're in their 20s. They haven't played a lot of rated games, so hopefully I can keep up with them. The winner of this game will have a chance at least to tie for second place. So let's jump in. So we've got Parker with the white pieces, and he starts out e4, e5. Daniel comes with his king pawn as well, and f3 and d6. It is the Philidor defense, and apparently very solid defense. I think the correct move here is to push the pawn in the center and challenge that e5 pawn. But what we have here is Parker is going to prepare that move with C3, and the computer likes it. So now we have an interesting, and I don't think this is booked, barreling out the F pawn, which is supposed to be kind of held back, protect the king. Typically, you don't see beginners making these kind of moves. It's a bold move, and the computer likes it. So, what can you say? Great find, Daniel. Okay, now Daniel pushed that pawn. He was making a statement here. This pawn is under attack. At this point, Parker has to decide: does Parker want to take, or does he want to protect this pawn? There's a lot of ways to protect it. You can push the pawn. You can move the queen. You can move the queen out. Probably, moving the bishop out is fine, or the computer thinks it's fine. Probably because it's going to get out of the way of this d pawn fairly quickly. Otherwise, you definitely would want to be careful about putting, your bishop in front of your center pawns like that normally. But this is clearly a forced exchange. This pawn is going forward. And so Parker should be able to get that bishop out relatively quickly. Ooh, and as if it looks like Daniel was anticipating that, pushes his G pawn out to then protect the F pawn. Daniel, breaking all the rules of beginner chess here. I hope your students aren't watching this game. You're supposed to bring out a few pawns and then develop your pieces, as quickly as you can. You got four consecutive pawn moves here. But hey, the computer likes it. You're completely off book, and you've built this mound of pawn protections. What's Parker going to do here? I think you've almost at this point. Well, you've got a lot of options here. So we're going to castle. Okay, great option. Daniel's not doing anything in this time. Okay, he develops his knight. Okay, this is what's this knight doing? Well, it's developing, but it's also attacking the center pawn here. So you've got an exchange before where the bishop was protecting the pawn. Now Daniel's added some extra pressure onto this pawn. The question is Parker going to see that extra pressure? Is he going to take? What's he going to do? Okay, push c4, which isn't a bad idea. I think he's trying to maybe stop, d5, and it's a miscount. It's a miscount, probably plain and simple. Probably still just counting on the bishop to take back. Missed the knight move, still knocking the rust off, my guess. So does Daniel see it? Of course, he sees it. This puts Parker in the classic pin. His two valuable pieces are basically both being attacked at the same time, which would be fine if he could take the pawn, but the knight is going to take back, and that is going to mean that he loses the exchange. So he traded a bishop for a pawn. Now Daniel has got his knight out there, and Parker has got to get resourceful here. So what is he going to do? Okay, brings the knight out. Says, hey, I don't want your knight here. Let's swap them. Doubling up on the C file here isn't the worst. You'll get your bishop out. You can move your rook to the B file. Okay, Daniel sees that, doesn't like it, and he moves away. Now this is fine. Daniel is still in a pretty good lead with that piece exchange. Okay, here, the computer really wanted Parker to push it out and attack that knight and attack that pawn with tempo. Basically, it kind of forcing, black. I'm not sure why. Let's just see here. Why can't black just push here? Oh, why? Because let's see. D takes C5, and then we've got bishop to G7, and what is white's advantage here? Well, I mean, why can't let's back up here. So white takes and black takes, and rook e1 check, and we're gonna have problems here. We can block, and then it looks like the bishop gets pinned. Now we're looking at this coming up next. The queen's going to be able to come in here. So yeah, this game is over. Not an easy find, but yeah, that d4 move was definitely really strong. Yeah, d3 not so much. Daniel pushing his bishop out, getting it on a good diagonal. Wanted him to go a little further, pin that knight. But Daniel's up. He's going to play it safe. Okay, Parker's going to kick that knight out now. He didn't do it the first time. Now he's going to. All right, and we got a blunder on Daniel's part. Again, it is the same attack we just saw, which is to say, if Parker takes the knight and Daniel takes, he's going to open up this file, and we're going to have problems here, 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 and the queen coming out after the knight gets captured, essentially. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Oh, Parker's response. He takes the knight, that kind of defeating that advantage a little bit. It was a hard one to see. And here we've got the best move by Daniel, just taking the piece back. And then we have a swap. Why did the computer not like that move? That's interesting. Okay, so the computer much rather go after the rook and seize that diagonal before black does. And I think that he could have seized the diagonal. Parker would have had to respond, and at that point he could have taken the knight. This kind of gives away some advantage if Daniel sees the bishop move. He doesn't. He takes the pawn, which is also a good move because it's going to put the rook into danger, and now Parker can still come back and take that diagonal, or I'm sorry, Daniel can. Parker's going to have to move the rook. Actually, it preferred the queen go out and get the rook. So missing this diagonal for both players really has been either one could have kind of seized the big advantage, I think, and it's still up for grabs. So it's kind of a game now. Who's going to grab that powerful diagonal and threaten the other rook, and is it going to make a difference? So computer doesn't thinks this move's an inaccuracy here. Again, it's going to think everything's an inaccuracy until somebody seizes that diagonal. Okay, so the queen has seized it. Not sure about that. Well, computer wants the rook to go to c1 and threaten the black bishop here, and not a bad move. If you push, you can't push that pawn. You can move this pawn, and then that does just terribly weakens the position here. So queen to d2. I definitely think stopping the bishop from coming out to h6 maybe, and adding some protection to that b pawn. Let's see okay, Daniel castles queenside. That's pretty safe. And let's see what we're doing here. Parker's going to c1 now and attacking that bishop. Okay, it gets pushed. Now, I said before that it seemed to be a problem with that push, and I think it's because we're going to get to pin this queen against the rook now. Okay, or we can just push that, which I think, let's see, takes, wants to move the queen and keep the pawn on the diagonal, and move the queen to e6. Actually, black can't make a bad move here. Just move the queen here, here, here. Looks good. Okay, Daniel chooses f5, a little bit more active, and computer likes it. Parker follows up, gets that knight out in the middle, threatens the queen. However, Daniel does have the option to just swap it, which he does. queen takes, and now we've got Daniel pushing his B pawn, giving Parker even odds again. Now, so the blunder here is E6, and I really it's hard to say why. Maybe this was a misslip because as soon as the queen has come to D4 here, a B6 here would have been, I think, preferable with pawn all the way to here. The queen is able to capture A7 right now. I'm not sure. Let's see if that's a problem. I think actually no, that's bad. And you've got queen here, and it looks like you're going to be trapping the queen. So yeah. Um, well, the queen can come out. Let's see what happens if the queen just comes out here. Okay, now we're just going to push that pawn. So we definitely want to do that. The best move here is just to push. And this brings the game back to dead even. And what are we looking at here? Bishop D6? What does that do? Let's see. Oh, I see. We're even. Now we can take the pawn. I'm not sure why we don't want to push this and start putting some pressure on that pawn. Let's see. Looks like I only have one option. Well, I got two options here. But computer likes C7, and computer wants a repetition. So going back to the game here, Daniel puts his queen on F5. Parker swings the knight out. They have an exchange. He pushes the pawn, which gives up E6, and Parker finds that move. Now he is threatening the rook, threatening the pawn, threatening to go down. Of course, it's brutal here. There's a lot that Daniel has to deal with. Okay, okay, it's not the end of the world. Um, he stops progress on the pawn. Computer does not like it and he links the rooks so they can't be taken. Computer doesn't like it because of that move, but okay. And Parker missed it. Looking here, I think, to maybe shore up the defense a little bit, lining up your king and queen on a diagonal, especially with the bishop, with the same color bishop, is a little bit dangerous here. Computer says, let's see, what's Daniel do in response? Okay, he's pushing on the king side. It's gonna come get that king. Computer says it's a missed win. So where's the missed win in here? So king b7 is a missed win. Okay, so rook h to f8. Showing a huge advantage for black here, but this is not an obvious position. So while we definitely know that opening up all these attacks was good, we definitely know Daniel found a very good resourceful defense to link them to stop the pawn. It was giving up his a7 pawn though. Parker missed it. Not really sure what the big advantage is at this point here. Let's see what Daniel does. Okay, so yeah, Daniel's swinging down the king side. He's going to attack. We're close to even again. Very odd. Okay. Computer says this is a blunder. Wants us to take that pawn, obviously, first. So here we've got king b7, finally protecting that pawn. And there's not really much else Parker can do. Queen is really, it's not getting in there very easily. This pawn is being attacked, and this bishop is going to come in. So there's a lot of threats right here. You've got this bishop coming here or here. You've got this pawn. Once I think they get rooks behind it, it's going to be in danger. Okay, so Daniel sees that pawn. Parker moves the rook. Let's see. this is going to be falling right into the bishop here. Although the computer says don't take it. Definitely want to take this queen, or definitely want to take this free pawn, and it equalizes the game. Any other move is dead lost. Uh, okay, interesting. All right, so like I said, any other move is dead lost. Let's see if Daniel could convert. I wish I could tell you why it's dead lost. Let's see here. We've got. Let's see here. I mean, we're obviously up 6 points here. I mean, we can afford to trade anything at this point. We could push this pawn. I think you want to get your rooks out. I mean, at this point, could we just take the pawn and make an exchange, put our queen right here? Let's see. If he goes there, we go here. How bad is that move? Well, that's pretty bad. So what's the move? Queen takes e6. All right, and that is the brilliant move. Let's see, does Daniel find it? Daniel plays a different brilliant move. He throws his pawn down, blocking the bishop attack. How long has the bishop attack been there? Ever since Parker moved his queen over. So it says it's a blunder, but it does seem, well, it looks like just going the wrong way made a big difference there. Daniel finds the resources to defend. Now, Daniel is down to 3 minutes on his clock. Parker has 6 minutes, so this game is coming down to probably going to be some fast moves. Parker throws his pawn down to e7, threatening the rook. This is dangerous. We've got protection from the queen, and we have a possible rook that could line up and help it as well. Okay, Daniel's pushing his rook at this point, saying, okay, I'm going to put some pressure on that pawn. Myself, can't push it yet because the rook would come over. And Parker says, what about your queen? You're in trouble here. Now, computer still says Parker is dead lost. Looks like it looks like this move right here. Once you pull the rook off, you're going to get into a whole bunch of trouble with that. But does Daniel see it? No. Daniel goes for a trade, which is a safe thing to do when you're up so much material. Parker grabs a free pawns and protects the b1 square. Excellent move. Still dead lost. The rook can come here, snatch the pawn, and too much pressure, down too much material, but Parker is being very resourceful here. And Daniel making the right play, or at least one of the best computer moves here, getting on that e-file. King coming up, maybe trying to avoid some back rank mate problems. Maybe setting Daniel up for a little trap here. If Daniel just jumps in with that move right there, it looks okay, but what about this here? Oh yeah, we just take that. And then we could get that, but that's not going to help us. So Parker moves the king into the bishop. Daniel comes down with the rook to protect the bishop and take the pawn. Parker pushes his h3 pawn, getting a little bit of a protection here, but weakening this g3 square quite a bit. And we see on Daniel's side taking control of the white squares here, protecting that b pawn, and the queen is coming back, putting it in line with the king here, but computer does not like this move, and why not? Computer wants to take that rook. Let's see here. Oh, ouch. Boom. Still, this position isn't the best, but definitely getting Parker back in this game would have been to take that rook, but this right here, adding protection to both the rook and the bishop and lining up against the king. It's hard to argue with this move. And then we've got the queen sliding into d3, offering an exchange. Let's see. Yeah, uh, losing sight of the rook as well. So the problem with this is this move here, and at this point, black has to exchange, and it's looking fairly even here. We got 3-on-1 and 3-on-2. White's king is a little bit more active here, putting pressure on the bishop, but Daniel's got it locked in. But we did not have that happen. Daniel made the queen move, and let's see, Parker went ahead and exchanged and then took the rook, and that cuts the lead to a pawn. And Daniel is looking at 37 seconds. So I suspect maybe some of these moves were made a little hasty. And Parker is back in the game. So we've got the rook, Daniel's rook, doing what you're supposed to do with rooks. You put them on, you put them on the rank with the pawns of your opponent, the 7th rank, the 2nd rank. Where's he going to go? Goes back to G1. All right. Instead of taking the pawn, he comes back, gives him another check. Parker pushes out toward the edge. Okay, we're gonna attack this rook. We're down to 7 seconds. It's not looking good for Daniel here. He's got a lot of work to do, and we're far too rusty to try to figure out an end game plan with 7 seconds left here. Parker's making fairly quick moves as well, trying to keep pressure on Daniel. Daniel gets off one more move. D5. Okay, we got a blunder there, and that is because this move here is checkmate. Now, we got 5 seconds left for Daniel. He has a checkmate right in front of him. All he has to do is see that that is protected and it's game over. He goes up with check. Okay, so logical move. I mean, you've got your rooks. You want to squeeze the king down as far as you can. Parker goes down. Daniel's got 4 seconds left. Does he get another move off? He's got 0.1 seconds left. Unfortunately, there's no checkmate in this position. So it looks like he's probably going to run out of time. And Parker's last move, king to F1. Wow. That was a crazy game. As far as the first analysis goes, it was very crazy as well. Okay, this next game is between yours truly playing the white pieces and Luke Thronson playing the black pieces. I believe this is for the championship on Tuesday night. And Luke managed to get a win off of Daniel, I do believe, in a similar fashion, a time fashion. Daniel's just going to have to figure out the clock. Let's see. Well, we're going to go start this game off here. I opened up E4, E5, NF3, NF3. I played the Ruy Lopez. This is, I do know this is Morphy's defense, and you're supposed to back up, but I took, and I know there's a good reasons for it. I don't remember the pros and cons of this, but I just know that when I get this far in, I like to exchange down. I don't remember. Mostly they take with the B pawn, but actually capturing with the D pawn I think is fine. I don't think there's a lot of bad with it. I went ahead and castled. I'm fine with that. All right, so Luke brings his bishop out. I didn't like this. I mean, it does take the D 4 square, but I don't care. Oh yeah, I know why I didn't like it, because I didn't see this. I mean, literally just I moved the knight. I captured in order to take the knight, to take the pawn, which I had forgotten with this move. And I think I don't remember it again. So yes, I have forgotten to take my free pawn. So I pushed this, which is questionable. Actually, no, it's just a mistake. And it's a mistake because I can't get it back now. Wait, yes, I can. But once I do, bringing the queen out here for a trade, I don't know. Apparently I'm okay. I'm okay here. I'm not sure why that's a mistake, but it must be because the computer says so. Now, that's interesting that Luke backs up here because I'm pretty sure that at this point, taking that pawn would negate most of the advantage I did have, but that's that's fine because now again I have the free pawn. But do I see it? No, I don't see it. I don't see it. I move my bishop. Seems like a normal, natural move. Keep it, have a bishop on e3 when it's on the same diagonal there. Not sure why I don't see the free pawn. Finally, it gets defended. I'm not sure. That looked like a pretty good move to me. Getting his bishop out. Okay. Instead of taking, which would have been a big advantage for me because you could see the queens, I would break his castling right here. And now I think I can take his pawn. Yeah, could have opened this up pretty simply just by capturing that pawn, even though it's protected. But I don't. I throw my c pawn out here, trying to get clever. I'm not sure what I'm trying to do exactly. I'm thinking that it would be fun to triple his pawns. Terrible plan. And and I think Luke has some good responses. Okay, so I'm still able to open it up. Now he's going for my e pawn. Do I see it? Okay, I see it, but now I'm not defending the d pawn anymore, and I think that's going to be a problem because yes, well, no, he can take. I'm going to win. I'm going to hold the exchange here. Let's see what he does. All right, he pushes. Now, this is just a nuts situation here. I can take this way, I can take that way. Computer doesn't care. It just says you have to take one. Anything else, I'm going to give up any advantage I have. Okay, so I do anything else. In fact, I do a blunder because this just gives away the B pawn, although the computer says it's the D pawn that you want, and you can take it either way. It prefers you take it with C, and that just really is going to mess me up, I think. What do I do here? Can I come there? Oh yeah, he's computer's just castling and going to take advantage of this structure, and is up. Um, has got an advantage. But what happens? Instead of taking that D pawn of mine, he takes the B pawn, which seems natural, but then it gives the advantage right back because now again I still have this. I still have this. I'm still able to open up the center, but I don't. I put behind the wrong pawn. Now I want to push this pawn, but that's not the pawn I want to push. And lucky for me, Luke counters the move I wanted to make, which was a bad move. So we're we're stopping each other from making bad moves. This is hilarious. Okay, this is interesting. It's saying that if I capture either direction, I'm getting close to even, but instead I swing my queen out for check, which is just a blunder. Well, it says it's a mistake. I think that's being kind. If the bishop comes out here, what am I doing? I just have to go back. For some reason, I was thinking there was some advantage in this, but now I think it was before these pawns came out. So Luke does offer me a queen trade. And, I'm not sure at this point that I want a queen trade because I don't feel like I'm ahead. So I decide to back off. And that might have been a worse move. So castling right there, computer didn't like it. Computer wanted this trade to happen right now. There's just too much stuff. Now black does win this pawn. So if instead of castling, Luke would have taken there, I can't take back because that's just plainly defended. I'm going to have to move my bishop out. Now Luke's going to be up 2 pawns. And with this amazing connect to pawn structure here, but let's see, after my queen move, then Luke castles, and which gives this up if I'm smart enough to take it, or if I'm smart enough to go any direction. And I finally do. It was the wrong direction, but finally, the E5 pawn has fallen after move 14. I think it's been available at capture for 13 moves, and it was recommended half the time. Finally, make the move, and of course, it wasn't the one I should have made. Luke takes back with his D pawn, and that is just a free pawn. It looks like it's a free capture. So one pawn, two pawns, and then I'm getting my second. So, and I'm doing it with a little bit of tempo. Game is back even. Time is still looking really good for both of us. Let's see. So Luke's not messing around. He's getting his queen down the center, attacking the knight that's got no defenders. I throw out my F pawn. Okay, unlike Daniel, this wasn't a good F pawn move. This is I'm not sure why. Well, it's terrible because these bishops here are about to get lined up, and the last thing I need to do is be moving these pawns without really getting us. Unless there's an advantage or something really good that's going to happen about moving these pawns, shouldn't do it. I'm thinking that I'm going to get more space. I'm going to protect my knight. Well, this knight can get kicked out. This knight can move here. I mean, there's the bishop can move. There's a million ways that Luke can kick that knight out. I do not need to move my pawn to protect it. All right, so next move, Luke does just that. Attack the knight. That stupid knight that I've used my precious position on. So now I lodge it right down in the middle. Now, I don't know what I'm doing with that knight. If he just throws any attack at it, I don't think it can go anywhere, can it? I mean, it can go back and then I lose a pawn. So that was just a dumb move. Okay, Luke goes back, attacks it, because where's it going to go? Okay, so the one thing about moving the queen that gave me a little idea was, okay, so if he moves the queen, now my bishop can take. And if my bishop can take, his rook can't go nowhere. So I should just let him have the knight and I should take there. But the computer does not like that because it thinks giving up the rook for that is actually a quite good trade. And I'm pretty sure that's what we do. He goes there, I take, he takes, I take, king takes. And then for whatever reason, instead of getting the tempo with that move there, I slide my rook over. I have no idea what I was thinking here. Okay, knight's coming to g4. I mean, I can kick it out, but it's going to weaken my pawn structure even more. And then that's going to be a really tough pawn if I start pushing that pawn. So, okay, now I see the take the pawn in check. And the computer doesn't care because you can just throw the bishop right in front. Luke decided to slide his king back, maybe thinking it'd be safer back there, but now it actually kind of opens up back rank mate opportunities. All right, no idea why I moved that, because again, I should have seen that this bishop can just slide there, and now, I'm almost completely trapped. Okay, so Luke goes on the offensive. He says you pushed all your pawns up, and I'm just got free pot shots at your king. I go ahead and slide over. This is really scary because he's got this knight down here. Okay, he moves up, attacks the king. Now, or he moves his Luke moves the rook up, and at first I thought about this move and I thought, yeah, this is really good. I really thought about this, especially with all of the attacks going on, to bring it back. And then I thought, no, I want to bring my queen back here, keeping his queen. If his queen has to slide over here, I was thinking, okay, well, he's going to have to do something with his bishop. He does go right in for check. I decided to go ahead and take it. I'm not sure what I was thinking at this point. Yeah, it says I'm over. If Luke here with 9 minutes left, what idea is he really looking for here? Well, he can pin my knight with this move. My queen is kind of stuck defending that. So how am I going to protect this pawn? Well, I could push the pawn, and that looks like what I'd have to do. Then he's going to come with he's going to eventually come with this. Now, oh no, computer doesn't like that. Computer likes this more. Putting more pressure on here. Now, I'm probably got to move my. So it's saying get out while you can. Throw an attack in. I'm still lost here, but it looks like I got quite a bit of game left. Let's see. Let's go back to let's go back to this position where I just go to take. I thought I had some creative things in here, but I don't. And so I go ahead and move back. Now I'm attacking the bishop in two ways. So I'm hoping that he obviously can't do anything with the bishop unless it's a check, because then I'll take his rook, and his bishop is being attacked twice, so he can't really move either of these pieces. I'm trying to really lock him down. I'm also threatening checkmate. I don't know if Luke was seeing that or not. So I liked the complexity we were in. Still weren't in any time trouble though. Okay, and this was a blunder. Like I just said, this piece was being attacked by the queen and the rook, and he needed to keep both of those on the defense. So boom, it's an inaccuracy. Wanted me to take with the queen, which of course, why wouldn't I? Well, I guess because he would have just queen traded me. And at this point, I want to go this way. So computer says he needs to get that rook back here and help. And the game is still playable. I'm just caught back up. But unfortunately, that's the wrong move. And that's the wrong move because I find this move here. Queen takes f7. Just slide on over. The rook is protecting me. King cannot capture me back. And now it's mate. So back and forth, back and forth. I was down most of the game, Luke. Yeah, I mean, really, I think we just got a little, probably maybe fast at the end with not counting the right number of pieces here that are protecting that bishop. Yeah, that's the move right there. Championship would have probably been Luke's without that move there. So thanks for that one, bud.